Let's take your phone calls, and let's start off with Richard. Richard, you're first up on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Richard?
Rich, are you there? Richard. I think we lost Richard. 702-257-5396. Go to Eduardo. Eduardo, you're next on the Vegas take.
Hey, Eduardo.
Yes, there's some very effective technology that was perfected by President Assad of Syria to deal with something like this. It's barrel bombs. You kick them out of the back of a helicopter, maybe put a couple of cylinders of chlorine gas in them because a lot of those guys might have COVID. So start dropping barrel bombs on them.
All right, so I just want to be clear with your opinion. You think we should take a page out of the playbook of an evil, murderous dictator in Assad, and you think with these few hundred people we should start dropping barrel bombs, and your reasoning for that is because some of them might have COVID. Is that your opinion, sir?
Well, I don't think Assad was that bad of an option. I mean, he was better than ISIS. I mean, he was very secular in many
That's
respects.
like saying O.J. Simpson is better than Scott Peterson. I mean, you have to give me something. You're defending Assad?
Maybe O.J. could function as a negotiator. We could get him to negotiate with these.
Eduardo, I don't know if you're pulling my chain here, my man, because this is a serious issue. I cannot imagine that you are being serious.
Look, they did it during World War II. There was this group called the White Shirts.
Okay, well, this isn't World War II.
Here's the rounded them up and threw them
I
in
understand,
jail.
sir, but here's the difference between you're comparing World War II to a few hundred people in Seattle that have taken over several blocks of land. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
No, I'm saying that you can't use domestic force to deal with insurrection. It's been upheld by the Supreme Court.
And you would be okay.
And that's very true. And
you would be okay.
That's what we're trying to avoid doing.
So what do you think?
If the police ask these people to leave and they refuse to do it, I mean, they've already issued demands. When you issue demands, there's always no or else attached to it. We didn't talk about that.
Eduardo, let me ask you a question.
When you issue demands, then that means that you're not going to leave until whatever you want to happen actually happens. If it's not going to happen, then there's that next level of military enforcement is going to come through and clear the area out, so to speak, and I don't have a problem with it.
Eduardo, let me ask you a question because you sound like a guy that is very sympathetic with minorities. So let me ask you a question, Eduardo. What do you think we should do as far as all these peaceful BLM protesters across the country? Should we drop bombs on them too?
Well, I think if it's public land, a park or something, it might be hard to use the barrel bomb.
Yeah, that might be hard. Yeah, I agree.
So I would use another technology, maybe some other technology.
All right, so that's fair. So you're saying if you're peacefully protesting and you're not hurting anybody, it's still okay to drop bombs on them. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Well, they're not peaceful. I mean, they were beating a guy up with clubs for.
That wasn't my question. Sir, Eduardo.
We want.
Eduardo,
you're sort of ISIS zone in the U.S.
Eduardo, you're not listening.
Supposedly stole a cell phone and they started beating him without any kind of
Eduardo, you're not listening. Please listen to my question again. I said, what should we do with the, wait for it, peaceful BLM protesters that are protesting peacefully? That was my question to you, not a guy with a bat or people that are.
Mean Bureau of Land Management, like Bundy?
I think we're pretty clear. I know you're trying to be funny, sir. Don't quit your day job.
I thought you were talking about the Bundy.
We're talking about something called. I bet you could. Okay, listen. I'm talking about Black Lives Matter. Stop being a smartass. And I'm asking you a question, so I would like an answer, and then we have to. Okay. What should we do, sir? Sir.
If they don't care about.
Sir, I'm asking you a question.
Someone who's
Sir, okay, I'm going to try one more time, sir, with you. You're very. Do you think that we should bomb peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters who are not breaking any laws? It's a very simple question. Okay. Thank you for the phone call. That was very intelligent.
He may have been hit with a barrel bomb.
Very, very. Yeah,
good call, Eduardo.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Bureau of Land Management. What a doofus. Let's go to Larry. Larry, you're next on the Vegas take. What's going on?
Hey, Larry.
No, it's Richard now.
Oh, now we have Richard. Okay. Richard, are you there, sir? Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Richard?
Yeah, I am. But for you to say that they're not violent. Okay, so you're willing to take their word that they're not going to do anything violent? You have no idea what they're going to do.
Okay, so Richard.
In the meantime, they're violating the rights of everyone in that 6-block zone. They have no civil rights.
Violating rights. Excuse me. Excuse me, Richard, can you name me an instance where any of these people have physically harmed anybody?
How would I know? How would you know?
Well,
No
here's
one
how
knows,
we know.
and that's the
Here's how we know,
problem.
Richard.
And they,
No.
control
You're wrong. If I can respond. If I can respond.
Brian,
pot him down.
you're standing up
Pot
for
him down.
people who have
Pot him
taken
down.
over a
Pot him
part
down.
of a
Pot him down.
major city and
First of all,
called it their own country.
first of all,
this is the most
okay.
left-wing,
Okay. First of all,
crazy viewpoint you've
okay.
ever had in your entire life.
First of all, JD is wrong once
I am
again.
totally correct.
Okay, well, let me respond.
You are
If I can
standing up
respond-
for these people because
if I can
because they're
respond-
not being violent.
Okay, if I can respond why you're wrong. Once again, JD is
Right, an
Can I
occupation
please
doesn't
get a
have
word
to be
out?
violent.
You just said something that is not factually
No, I did
accurate.
something that was very
so I am
accurate.
going to no, it's not.
Yes,
At
it
the
is.
start of the show, no, you're wrong. And what a shocker, you're wrong again. So at the start of the show, I guess you weren't here or you weren't mentally listening, but I'll repeat it again so people like you can understand. Okay, at the start of the show, I said very clearly that these people should be arrested. They're breaking the law. I also called them idiots. I don't think you've ever called a Republican an idiot in your life. Okay? So that's what I did at the start of the show. I also went after the mayor and law enforcement there because I'm intellectually honest. So what you just said, that I'm defending their actions, is 100%. Now, let me finish. I know you're about to interrupt me again. I get it. Let me just finish. I have to say that 30 times an hour because you said something that is not factually accurate. I'm not defending them. I've never defended them. What I am saying, and what this gentleman doesn't understand, is there are reporters there reporting on everything. Could something violent happen? Sure. If that does happen, then I will call them out for it. But to this point, nobody has been physically harmed. That's how we know. Nobody's been physically hurt. Now, you could say, well, how can you take their word for it? Something could happen in the future. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Something could happen in the future. I guess in the future, Donald Trump could batter his wife, too. We don't know that.
Totally irrelevant.
Here's why it's relevant.
No,
Here,
it's
hold on.
totally irrelevant.
No, here's why it's relevant. Because if it hasn't happened, you can assume anything you want. But if it hasn't happened, I'm not going to assume it's going to happen. And for that last caller who just said, how do you know? How do you know? To this point, nothing violent has happened. That's how I know.
Well, also, what could take place in a 6-block, we'll call it an encampment, an armed occupied encampment. Someone could come in with weapons and they could create a military stronghold type of situation. That's the worry. It's not just the fact that they're in the spot. It's the fact that they threaten to burn down the police precinct. They don't want to deal with this in any other city across the country. We shouldn't have to deal with this in any other city across the country. And you don't know what's happening in every single area behind those walls, Brian. That's why cities exist. That's why mayors are a thing. That's why governors, because someone has to handle and control everything that's going. This is chaos. And you talk about no leadership. Well, Raz Simone is the leader, and as far as I know, he is a aspiring hip hop artist who has before this
like hip-hop,
had
or what's that have to do with it?
I'm a huge fan of hip hop.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think
So you're a
that
fan of
I
it.
don't think that a hip hop artist should be running a 6-block encampment.
That is so fair that you said that.
No,
And
why is that
no,
not fair?
First of all, you're not listening to me again. I said that is so
Okay.
fair that you said that. I would also agree on the other side of things that a reality TV star probably shouldn't be the president of the United States. Let's go
A
back.
reality TV star with
Let's go back.
with a lot of business experience, Brian.
Let's go back to the phone call. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Rose. Rose, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Rose?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing great.
It is total freaking craziness, okay? Maybe they haven't hurt anybody because nothing's been reported, but we don't know. The thing is all those people that have businesses down there, the people around there don't want that out there. It's ridiculous. And then what they are asking for is, come on. I mean, I sometimes wake up thinking, am I freaking dreaming here? Is this really happening in the United States of America? It needs to stop. All this crap
Well, I say that every
needs
day.
to stop.
Okay, what other crap are you
And
referring
I
to?
will call out a Republican if I'm a Republican, but I will call out a Republican if he does something wrong. I will call out a liberal. I will call out a Democrat. And what they're
All right, so
doing
can
right now is insane. Plain
So
and
can I
simple.
ask you a question?
It needs to
Well,
stop.
I agree with you. They're criminals, and the police should clear them out. I said that, as you know, Rose, at the beginning of the show. But you said you're willing to call out Republicans. I appreciate that. What about Donald Trump when he tweeted out, if you loot, we'll shoot? What about the things that Donald Trump says on a daily basis? I mean, are you capable of calling him out for that as well?
I don't agree on what he says sometimes, and I'll call him out on that. But what I'm saying right now is that this stuff, Brian, needs to stop. This madness needs to stop.
Okay, so
This is
besides
ridiculous.
Seattle,
And I would argue that as long as it keeps going, all it does is it helps Donald Trump. So
Okay.
I
there's
don't want it because you know what it's hurting?
it's
I mean,
very
even
it's
if it
very
helps
likely that
Donald
it's
Trump-
not going to go anywhere. But
but
the
even
issue
though-
is
exactly. But even though if you think it might help Donald Trump, what about those poor people that got to live through this?
hey, I agree.
I'll
I
tell
totally
you
agree.
something. If it happened in Las Vegas, my husband tells me, honey, please stay away from Target. If they're going to, there was a thing saying that they were going to riot a Target right next to my house. I'm going to go over there and fight for my Target. Because that's how I am. My husband's like, please, hon, stay away from that. You don't get yourself hurt. I'm not one to stand by. And in my opinion, with those 4 officers, all of them need to go to jail for that. And the people filming it that didn't put their 2 cents and get in the middle of it to stop it, those people are wrong in my opinion.
all right, hold on a second. That's where you lost me. Rose, that's where you lost me. I agree with most of what you said. You just lost me on that one. So you're telling me when you have 4 officers with guns, you're telling me you think innocent bystanders should get into a physical confrontation with
not a
armed
physical,
officers?
not a
Well, what are you
physical,
talking about
but
then?
they
That's
need to-
you.
I'm talking about getting in it and saying, look what you're doing. Stop.
They
what
were
you're
doing that. They were telling me, they were pleading with. Hold on a second. Let's be factually accurate here. They were doing that. If you watch the entire tape, they were yelling at, please stop. The man can't breathe. That's all they can do. They can't go in there and do anything else. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about walking up to them and getting in their face. And
Okay, so that's
if I got
smart.
arrested for it,
Okay.
So be it.
No wonder why your husband gives you advice. You're a whack job. You think people should go into an officer's face and yell at an officer when they're making an arrest, whether it's right or wrong? Are you nuts?
Well, I mean, it clearly wasn't the right thing that was taking place. And had she yelled at him, the 17-year-old woman who actually made this video, it may have changed things.
Is this woman nuts?
No, I mean that's actually a valid point. If you see if you see an officer with his knee on someone's neck,
you should confront the officer.
you should be like, hey, what are you doing?
They were doing that. Everyone that was taping was screaming at the officer, pleading with him to stop. I watched the video. I'm sorry, man. That woman is nuts. That is the worst advice you could give anybody. I don't care what the color of your skin is. White, black, whatever, orange, as in Donald Trump. When officers, right or wrong, are making an arrest, you can't get in their face and scream at them. You're going to be arrested, too. And then that could start a physical altercation. This woman is a dope.
Brian, she just wants to go to her Target.
She does like her Target.
Yeah, that's her concern,
Absolutely.
Target. All this stuff is nonsense because I need to go in my Target and buy a purse. Good grief, people are so stupid.
No, I mean, Brian, the nonsense is saying that since these particular individuals are not violent criminals, that they should not be treated by the law as someone who is literally trying to create their own little community inside the United States. Call it not the United States.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about that last caller.
Okay.
That's what we should do, everybody. If you see an officer might be doing something wrong, do something about it. Get in their face and scream at them. Boy, that's a really wonderful idea. I'm sorry. I just cannot believe she just said that. She had me until, there. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Andy. Andy, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Andy?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, so I think, Brian, you're playing both sides here. I mean, you're saying
Yeah, that's called intellectual honesty. Yeah.
Oh no, it's just called you're trying to cover yourself because in one sense you're
How's
saying,
that?
hey, these guys should be arrested and they're
Yes, they should.
But and then on the other sense you're saying, well, it's okay for them to be there because they're not violent, they're not hurting anybody.
Nope. Where did I say in this program that it's okay for them to be there?
So then, what are you supporting with them? What's
Okay.
the point
First of all,
of
I'm
saying
not
that it's
supporting.
okay for
Okay,
them?
let me be clear so you can understand, because clearly you have no idea what my opinion is. You're not making any sense. I never said they should be allowed to be there. I'll repeat it again so everybody can hear, and try not to hear what you want to hear. Listen to my words. These people
will,
are.
and then
Hold
let
on.
me
Oh,
respond.
see, here's the problem. You don't listen. You want to talk over me, and you're not listening. These people are idiots. They're criminals. They deserve to be arrested. Cops need to go in there and give them one fair warning. If you don't leave, we're going to tear gas you. And then if you still don't leave, we're going to arrest you. They deserve to be arrested, and whatever the law says. But here's where I disagree with a lot of these nut jobs on the right. There are people on the right that think they should go to jail for life. There are some people that are saying they should go to Guantanamo Bay and lock the key away. That does not mean I am defending them. I just made it very clear I'm not defending them. I just don't think they deserve the electric chair. Do you understand my opinion, sir?
Yes, I understand. Now, these people on the right that said that they should be put in Guantanamo Bay, were they talking about these people in Seattle?
Yes,
taking
I
over
will
the bus, or were
specifically
they talking
say
about,
yes, sir. Fair question. Fair.
Antifa?
No problem, sir. Fair question, and I will give you the answer.
Well, the two probably overlap in this situation.
That is not according
I
to
think
Wayne
they do.
Allen Root. If you look up Wayne Allen Root, who is a local right-wing nutjob host here in town, he put out a specific tweet talking about these specific people in Seattle. He referenced them. And the only point I am trying to make is this. That is wrong, okay? There is a white supremacist who drove a car and tried to kill protesters in Virginia. He is the head of the KKK. I didn't hear anybody on the right calling that guy out. Now, if you ask me, somebody who tries to plow their car into a bunch of protesters deserves life in prison. These people are criminals.
Well, I'm sure he's going to get something
Brian,
close to that.
Brian,
Brian.
let me
Why
just
would he
make a
not?
point real quick.
Sure.
You make a very good point right there. But at the same sense, we just had a cop killed in Oakland, California, okay, a hero who served our country.
Yes.
And where is his funeral on TV?
Or
Where's
David
all
Dorn's.
the Black Lives Matter, Underwood,
Right.
Officer
Right.
Underwood.
Yeah, David Patrick.
Well,
Underwood.
all I could do.
Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. Let me make my point, please. Black Lives Matter hasn't mentioned his name at all, saying, hey, this guy is a black man who was killed.
Sure, I'll respond to
and
that.
He served his
Sure.
country honorably. So where it's
Sure. I will respond to that. I will gladly respond to that. First of all, I can only speak for myself, but I was at Officer Shea's fundraiser yesterday. I support the police, and that's why I was there. Many of these people that say this, they support the police were not there in the media. That's number one. Number 2, I cannot control Black Lives Matter and what they do, but I will say this. But I will say this, though, sir, with all due respect. The Black Lives Matter movement is about police brutality and minorities. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think
one portion of it. One
okay.
portion.
That is, it's actually a very small portion of
okay,
it.
so that is why.
it is.
So Black Lives Matter was formed after Ferguson, after Michael Brown, and the Black Lives Matter movement. If you talk to the peaceful protesters, I don't care what ignorant people have to say, they will tell you while Black Lives Matter in all facets of life, their focus is right now anyway. Is police brutality and the way they treat minorities. It doesn't mean that they don't care about an African American.
No, but they don't come out and support law enforcement at all.
Yeah, exactly. No,
And
it's very
especially
very
somebody that has been
confusing
killed.
with the rest
That
of the
is
country.
a,
It looks to a lot of the country. It looks like the organization is very anti-police, anti-white, as opposed to pro-black. When they don't make comments on things like what took place in Chicago last week, or the death of David Dorn or David Patrick.
All right, so that is a.
Brian,
and here's something else.
I'm sorry.
If you go to donate money to Black Lives Matter, it goes to Act Blue, and Act Blue is a Democratic donation organization. And basically all of that money goes to Democratic presidential candidates, and I would say about 85% of those are Caucasian.
Okay.
So the money, when you donate to Black Lives Matter, the money actually goes to white Democratic presidential candidates or people who are trying to increase themselves politically.
Okay. So we're not going to talk about the actual issue.
It's just one giant oxymoron with what's going on right now with Black Lives Matter.
702. Well, I completely disagree with that, and you're coming from a different perspective than the people who actually care about police brutality against minorities. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Sonny. Sonny, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Sonny?
All right, thank you. Hey, what's up?
Go ahead, Sonny. What's on your mind?
Oh yeah. So basically, I've been listening to the people that you guys have been talking to, and I'm out here in Vegas, and I do know what they're talking about. The cops got shot, and dang, they shot someone back. Eye for an eye. Here we go, right? I should mention I just moved here a year ago. I was there. I moved here from St. Louis, Missouri. So I was there for the Mike Brown situation.
Right.
And my mom's black and my dad's white, So, I literally can be as honest and what do you say, intellectually honest. You know what I mean? I'll give it to you straight down the middle. There is racism on both sides.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hate seeing that.
Yeah.
But the only thing is that people don't realize it is actually different per state that you're in. Okay? So Black Lives Matter is completely different in St. Louis, in the Midwest. It's something that you wouldn't want to experience. You know what I mean?
Well, I do know what you mean. And listen, there are more racist people in certain states. I completely agree with you. Demographic is certainly important. But I think as a whole, if you asked most peaceful BLM protesters, they would tell you, listen, we just want to be treated as equals when it comes to law enforcement. And I agree with them, and I support that. I don't support the violent ones. I don't support those who are, tearing down or burning down buildings and committing violent acts. Just as I don't support those in Seattle that are closing down blocks. But I also don't support the idiots on the right who don't call out white supremacy and want these people in jail for the rest of their lives. That's all. Should we take one more phone call? Let's go to Carlos. Carlos, you are next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Carlos?
Yeah, hey guys. So that the laws they're breaking were like trespassing, that kind of thing, impeding commerce.
Yes.
It's just whatever laws are on the books and
Exactly.
book them. And
I agree.
And then regarding the Bundys, maybe they should get the same treatment the Bundys did. BLM, Metro, ATF, FBI, state police, drones, planes, military equipment.
Well, I don't think that would be necessary, and I didn't think it was necessary, to be completely honest with you, with Bundy. I think they just should have arrested everybody there. I don't think you needed all that stuff, and I don't think you need it now. I think they need to treat these people in Seattle just like they did with any other violent protesters. Use tear gas, use rubber bullets. If that doesn't work and they're still there, by the way, I think that would work. But if it didn't work, then just go in there and arrest them. That's all.
I don't think it would work, Brian, because a lot of them have weapons. There's armed occupants there that I believe would respond in kind.
Okay, well, I don't think that would happen.
I actually do believe that would take place. Okay. Brian, if they're willing to threaten to burn down a police precinct and then take over 6 blocks of downtown Seattle and Capitol Hill neighborhood and call it an autonomous zone, then why would they not fight for the chance to – or why would they not fight for – you think they'll just leave? They're just going to leave? They've built an entire encampment there, Brian. Mm-hmm. They've declared themselves outside of the United States. You think they're just going to leave when they're asked? I find that extremely hard to believe.
No,
the police chief actually went there. She got into the precinct. She was like one of 4 police officers yesterday, and then she went on, and she's actually an African-American woman, and she went on and she said, this was not my choice. I did not choose to abandon the police precinct, which means that the mayor is the one that instigated everything.
All right. Well, I haven't seen them behead anybody. I haven't seen them kill anybody.
They don't have to, Brian.
To spend the rest of your life in jail, you need to do a little bit more than
I'm not saying spend the rest of your life in jail.
But a lot of people are.
I am saying punish these people, set a precedent with the punishment so that it does not take place again. Very simple.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We'll take more of your phone calls in hour number 2. But coming up next, her name is Molly Taylor, and she's trying to expel, for lack of a better term, Michelle Fiore. Michelle Fiore is the mayor pro tem here in Las Vegas. What did Michelle Fiore do? Well, she screamed out "White Lives Matter" at a meeting, which is wonderful timing for that, by the way. And then she said
the Clark County Republican Convention.
Yes, correct. And she said somebody's black ass took her white ass's job. I mean, is this the type of language that we want our leaders to use? Is this what we want? So this woman, Molly Taylor, is doing everything she can to out Michelle Fiore, basically. That's what she's doing. So she's going to be joining us next, so we're going to talk to her a little bit about that. Michelle Fiore is in a little bit of hot water. Listen, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. When you use language like that, you deserve to be fired.